Well, I'll say it's more faith-based. It's more faith-based and just commit to it, you know. Obviously, me and Jerry had that dispute or whatever last week, but, you know, I had faith in him. You know, he had faith in me. And everybody put everything aside and, okay, cool, let's go out there and play ball. You know, God forgive everybody else, so why not us forgive each other, you know? So that's, when you go in situations, you have no negativity, no hate on your heart, no anything, you know, and you out there enjoying, having fun.
Saw a clip of Jerry Jeudy on the sideline with Shedeur Sanders, and they're arguing, look like they're arguing over the play or whatever. But this goes back to, I told y'all. What I was saying was, it's time, or next season, it's going to be trade Jerry Jeudy time, dog. It's going to be trade Jerry Jeudy time. Shedeur is talking about trust, and you got this guy on the sideline arguing with Shedeur, talking about this need to be here. Dog, you need to be on the same page as your quarterback, not trying to make your quarterback be on the same page as you. You tripping. What the hell wrong with you, dog? That's why he out of here. I saw that shit on the football.
So, don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. The crazy thing is, what you just heard wasn't some polished, media-trained, PR-approved franchise quarterback speech. That was a 2-3-year-old kid, 3 starts into his career, sitting behind a microphone and basically ripping his chest open in front of the world. And you could feel it. You could feel it in your gut. This didn't sound like your usual, yeah, we just gotta execute better, gotta watch the tape cliché nonsense. This sounded like a young man fighting for his sanity, fighting for his team, and somehow still protecting the very people who keep making his life harder. Because let's be real, everything around Shedeur right now is chaos. You've got a veteran receiver screaming at him on the sideline like he hasn't been dropping passes all year. You've got a coaching staff dialing up a 2-point play they already watched fail in practice. You've got an offense that looks stuck in reverse half the time. And in the middle of that, this dude walks up to the podium and talks about faith, talks about forgiveness, talks about finding his happy place mentally, just to keep going. That's not normal. That's not typical rookie talk. That's somebody carrying way more than just a playbook. What really hit me was the contrast. We all saw the sideline clip, right? Jerry Jeudy in his face, body language screaming, disrespect, social media clowning Shedeur like he was the problem. And then you hear Shedeur say, God forgives everybody else, so why can't we forgive each other? Do you understand how wild that is? He's the one getting disrespected. He's the one getting undermined by play calling. He's the one being doubted every single week. And he's the one standing up there choosing grace, choosing humility, choosing to own things that aren't even his fault. That makes Jerry's whole tantrum look 10 times worse in hindsight. It makes the coaches look smaller. It makes the criticism look lazy. This press conference hit different because it wasn't just about football. It wasn't about QBR. It wasn't about route concepts. It wasn't about box scores. It was about a young quarterback showing you exactly who he is when everything around him is broken. If you watched that presser and thought, man, this feels bigger than one game, you're not crazy. You're paying attention. This wasn't just a recap of what went wrong on Sunday. This was the beginning of something. And if you really want to understand how big it is, you've got to look at where Shedeur actually stands inside this team, inside this organization, and why it feels like he's being forced to grow up faster than anybody around him. I'll be real with you, the craziest part of Shedeur's early NFL journey isn't the throws, the flashes, or even the poise. It's the fact that this kid isn't just learning the league, he's surviving it. Every snap he takes in Cleveland feels like he's being thrown into a fire he didn't start. But somehow, he's the only one trying to put it out. And the more you look at the situation around him, the more you realize he's being asked to grow up at a speed most quarterbacks never have to face. Because let's talk about this offense. This isn't an NFL system tailored to your rookie quarterback. This is a high school playbook duct taped together, hoping it looks like something functional on Sundays. Predictable formations, routes that don't threaten defenses, concepts that don't respect Shedeur's strengths. It's almost like the coaching staff built this thing without ever watching his Colorado tape. The kid thrives in timing concepts, layered progressions, tempo control, and the Browns hand him a playbook that looks like it was installed the night before. And the worst part? They're calling plays in crucial moments that already failed in practice. They knew it didn't work. They called it anyway. And then Shedeur, the rookie, is the one standing at the podium protecting them. And that's where the mental load hits you. 3 starts in, and he's carrying the responsibility of a 10-year vet. Not because he wants to, but because somebody has to. Inside that locker room, you can't even say he's fully respected yet. He's too new, too young, too tied to Dion's shadow. But he's also not ignored because when he speaks, guys listen. It's this weird middle space where he's being leaned on for leadership before the organization has even earned the right to lean on him. And then there's Jerry Jeudy, a veteran who should be helping stabilize the rookie, not barking at him on the sideline like a frustrated Madden player. You can feel how fragile the trust is in that room. Losing exposes everything: egos, insecurities, desperation, and Shedeur is navigating all of it while trying to keep his mind clear enough to complete passes in the rain. Meanwhile, the outside world is acting like he's supposed to be perfect already. Analysts doubting his ceiling because of mechanics or arm talent, fans arguing in circles, social media ready to throw him into the bust conversation every time a ball hits the turf. Nobody is talking about what he's actually dealing with. Nobody is acknowledging the broken system he walked into. And yet, somehow, through all of it, you can see something real forming. Leadership, command, a voice, a presence. Not because the Browns developed it, but because the pressure forced it out of him. And if this is who he is under these conditions, imagine what he becomes when the environment finally matches his potential. There's a moment in every young quarterback's journey where the world stops judging the box score and starts judging the soul. And for Shedeur, that moment hit the second he admitted, straight up, "I was trying to create a spark." Do you know how honest you have to be to say that publicly? Most quarterbacks hide behind cliches. Not Shedeur. He knew the offense was dead. He knew nothing was working. He knew the stadium felt lifeless. And instead of pretending the interception was just a misread, he told you exactly what happened. He felt desperate. He felt pressure. He felt like he had to save an offense that gives him almost nothing. And that's the weight he carries every single week. Because he's not just Shedeur Sanders the rookie. He's Prime's son. The kid who grew up with cameras on him, expectations on him, pressure stitched into every jersey he's ever worn. Every mistake he makes echoes louder. Every throw he misses becomes a headline. Every moment of frustration becomes proof for people who want to see him fail. And the crazy part? He doesn't run from it. He doesn't hide from it. He walks right into that pressure, even when it's crushing. Just look at the Jerry Jeudy situation. A veteran, a guy who's supposed to be a mentor, screaming at a rookie quarterback on national TV because he wasn't getting targets. And instead of clapping back, instead of embarrassing Jeudy the way Jeudy embarrassed him, Shedeur forgave him. He literally stood in front of the media and protected a guy who disrespected him. Meanwhile, those same veterans, those same coaches, those same analysts who should be guiding him, half of them don't even understand what he needs to succeed. They're calling plays that fail in practice. They're building an offense that limits him. They're expecting him to run a system designed for someone else and then blaming him when it collapses. And the media? Don't even get me started. One quote gets clipped out of context and suddenly he's immature. One interception and suddenly he's not ready. They ignore the pressure. They ignore the environment. They ignore the mental battles he openly talked about, the fight to stay clear, to stay grounded, to stay sane in a situation that would have broken half the quarterbacks taken before him. It's lazy criticism from people who would fold in a heartbeat if they lived one day in his shoes. That's why this moment feels so wrong and so real at the same time. A rookie who shows more maturity than the veterans, more loyalty than his coaches, and more honesty than the analysts covering him. And if this is the weight on his shoulders now, imagine what happens when he finally gets the support he deserves. Because something in him is starting to shift, and everybody's about to feel it. You can feel it. Something shifted this week. And it wasn't just the touchdown, or the near comeback, or even the viral presser. It was the way Shedeur carried himself through all of it. This wasn't a rookie hanging on for dear life anymore. This was a young quarterback stepping into a different version of himself. A version that looks like the beginning of a breakthrough. Because, let's start with the moment everyone keeps replaying. His forgiveness of Jerry Jeudy. A veteran loses his cool on the sideline, embarrasses Shedeur in front of millions, and what does Shedeur do? He forgives him. Not privately, not through some PR leak. He stands at the podium and says, "God forgives everybody else, so why can't we forgive each other?" That's not just leadership, that's elite leadership. That's the kind of leadership that makes grown men take a hard look at themselves. And you could see it on Jeudy's face after that touchdown. He knew he didn't deserve that grace, and Shedeur gave it to him anyway. And that's where the breakthrough begins. His spiritual grounding isn't just part of his personality, it's becoming his competitive advantage. When everything around him is noise, when the offense is chaos, when the media is twisting his words, Shedeur goes inward. He finds clarity, not excuses. He finds purpose, not panic. The game is mental, and he's tapping into something that most rookies never even understand exists. But it didn't stop there. You can see him slowly taking command of this locker room too. The way he talked about checking guys' temperature, making sure everyone was mentally right, keeping the sideline calm, that's what franchise quarterbacks do. That's culture building. That's someone elevating teammates who haven't always elevated him. And suddenly, you can feel the Browns starting to realize it. This kid isn't here to blend in. He's here to transform the room. And unlike so many young quarterbacks who crumble under pressure, Shedeur studies his mistakes like he's searching for deeper meaning. He doesn't just want to know what went wrong, he wants to know why it went wrong. That's emotional growth, mental growth, football growth. It's everything you want in a future superstar, showing up all at once. This week didn't just show that he can survive the NFL. It showed that he can reshape it. And if this is the version of Shedeur emerging under the worst circumstances, just imagine what happens when things finally fall into place. Because pressure doesn't break Shedeur Sanders, pressure reveals him. There comes a moment in every great quarterback's story where the narrative flips, where the pressure that was supposed to crush them becomes the thing that defines them. And for Shedeur Sanders, that moment feels like it's happening right now. Because when he stood there and said he's comfortable with being uncomfortable, he wasn't trying to sound profound. He was telling us exactly who he is. He was giving us the blueprint to understand his entire journey. This kid has lived in chaos his whole life. Cameras, criticism, expectations, jealousy, and instead of running from it, he's learned how to breathe in it. That's not normal. That's not learned. That's built into him. And the maturity he's showing, it's way beyond his age. Most rookies try to hide from mistakes. Shedeur walks right toward them. Most young quarterbacks point fingers. Shedeur points thumbs. Most guys fold when veterans doubt them. Shedeur forgives the very teammate who disrespected him. That's why Jerry Jeudy has to feel regret right now. You don't get many chances to play with a quarterback wired like this. A quarterback who cares more about unity than ego. A quarterback who will take the heat to protect you even when you were the one who lit the fire. That kind of character is rare in any locker room, on any roster, in any era. And you can feel the tide shifting already. Fans are connecting with him more every week. Not because of stats, not because of highlight throws, but because of the way he carries himself. Because of the honesty. Because of the faith. Because he's showing people that resilience isn't just a football skill, it's a life skill. The locker room is responding too. Guys who barely knew him a month ago are suddenly following his lead. They're listening to him. They're matching his energy. That's culture change. That's what franchise quarterbacks do before the wins even show up. But that's also where the danger comes in. The Browns have something extremely rare. A young quarterback with talent, poise, self-awareness, humility, and the emotional gravity to pull an entire franchise together. If they waste this, if they keep running plays that don't fit him, if they keep surrounding him with dysfunction, if they keep making him carry more than any rookie should, they're going to lose what could have been the biggest blessing that organization has had in decades. But if they build around him, if they match his growth with structure, if they give him real weapons, real schemes, real support, we're going to look back on this season as the one where Shedeur stopped being Dion's son and became the franchise quarterback Cleveland has been begging for since the dawn of time. So, if you believe in what you're seeing, if you feel that shift happening, drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me know where you stand. Because this story, this journey, it's just getting started, and you're going to want to be here for every step of it.